r/askreddit. What would you do if you couldn't have sex anymore due to a physical or mental issue? My husband has stage 4 metastatic melanoma. He's okay and will likely be okay, but chemo/immunotherapy fucked with his mojo. I'm good. We've found our intimacy in other ways, like coffee together and just laughing in our car, our TV shows, etc. I'd much rather have him with me than sex. Just imagine what you could do in that extra 2 to 3 minutes per week. Same thing we do every day, Pinky, try to take over the world. The real question is, what would your so do? We have been in this exact predicament for over 3 years now. It's like living with your best friend, but every single day you watch a piece of your relationship die. Edit. Sorry for the oversharing. This one hits hard. Prostate cancer under 50 is considered rare. Although if caught early it's very treatable. What they don't tell you is the cancer is transplanted into your relationship. For over 30 years we had an amazing intimate sexual chemistry that was built around, if one of us isn't into it then we won't do it. No fake orgasms, no birthday sex, no wearing each other down or giving in, just raw vulnerability and trust. All gone. I do actually, endometriosis. It's sometimes really sad, but you do other things with your partner, and try again to see if there's any improvement. I used to have a high sex drive, but due to the pain not anymore. My partner understands that and his one preoccupation is my health. Oh wow, nothing changes. I would definitely miss it, but I'd manage. NGL, I'd probably take some sort of medication that decreases my sex drive. I'd try other things to feel intimate with my partner. Like naked, but not sexual, snuggling. Or start up a hobby night where we spend quality time together. Maybe buy them a quality sex toy so they don't feel like they're missing out because of me, woman shrugging, but other than that, I'd just continue getting on with life. I was hit by a car and paralyzed from the chest down. I no longer have any sensation down there. Sucks, really. In some ways I think it is easier to get over not being able to walk, than losing sexual function. Unfortunately there isn't anything to do about it. Go back to playing WH-40K. Penetrative sex, or you have no interest in intimacy? Because if it's just you can't stick A and B for whatever reason, there's plenty of other, and arguably more fun, intimate behaviors than a going into B. That's kinda my life, fam. Been dealing with an inflammatory skin issue that has prevented me from having sex with my partner for the last 2 months. It's been a struggle, feels like my sex life is in shambles, and it's driven me back into depression. Luckily my partner is incredibly understanding, but it has put a huge strain on the relationship. Trying to explore other forms of intimacy, but she has a hard time receiving touch without it being a mutual experience. If this becomes a long-term problem, I don't know how I'll cope. Not have sex and just live my life? Does that include lack of desire? I think the answer depends totally upon that. Raise a legion and sack a city. I'm going to buck the trend and say that my life would be significantly degraded. I had a fairly low sex drive through periods of my life due to mental illness. Now, I am at my sexual peak and it's as if I'm seeing in color for the first time. I know how my body works, and what it likes, and I feel powerful and sexy. At this point, my sense of self and identity are linked to my ability to have sex. I felt very ugly and like I was only a mother for a while, and I feel much more like a woman and a normal person now. I could live without sex, but it would take me building myself up all over again and accepting who I am without that. Honestly, I'd be devastated. Not being able to connect in that intimate way with my partner would leave a huge gap in my mental well-being. I know it's not technically essential, but it's a massive part of a relationship, and without that I would feel incompetent as a partner. Break ops mom's heart. Already been there. Got better. Being able to have sex is nice, but I know I can live without it. There are other kinds of intimacy. Edit. I probably shouldn't say it got better like it magically lifted one day. I took supplements from Roman app, helped my self-confidence enough that I found I eventually didn't need it anymore. But the stress and anxiety of impotence can be very real. It was something I had to work to fix. It would probably devastate me, honestly. I was super overweight, had very poor luck with women in my teens and 20s. I took control of my life, lost over 100 pounds and met my wife at 28. 8 years later we still have a very healthy sex life. She would understand, but I feel as though it would bring up the feeling of inadequacy again. Wait, you guys are having sex? Survive. There are many people who do this every day of their lives. I've been living without it for almost 6 years now as it is, with 4 being by choice, and I'm okay. Though it wasn't permanent, I had birth injuries that put me out of action for a long time. Longest cold spell was probably a year? While it certainly sucks, I don't feel our relationship suffered because we really enjoy each other's company and he's my favorite person, sex or no sex. It's just that one really fun thing was off the table, but there are all kinds of pleasures in life. Does that include masturbating? LOL. Hell, I'm living it now. AMA. I have fibroids, endometriosis, and PCOS. Not to mention I'm traumatized from previous assaults. Before I was in a relationship, I honestly didn't give a damn. Sure, I was depressed, but I just didn't know or care to even masturbate. I never thought it changed who I was as a person, despite my silent suffering. Sex now is good, but my boyfriend and I have had to work hard for it. What used to be literally 2 to 3 hour sessions because of my pain and lack of, well, desire, has now become sessions of 3 times a week and quite possibly the most enjoyment I've ever had in my entire life. I find myself pining for more even after he's hit his limit. I'm due for a hysterectomy in 2 weeks. I'll be having what's called a total hysterectomy. I'm nervous it'll kill my sex drive entirely all over again, but the only time I will end up stopping having sex is if he stops having sex with me. I've found it hard for me emotionally to not have such an intimate time with my boyfriend. This also includes masturbating with just a toy. I just don't enjoy it. It physically aches to masturbate alone. But when I'm with him and we're both panting away, I feel so happy. I think I'd be devastated if we stopped having sex entirely. I'd have to get back on anti-anxiety and antidepressants again. We'd probably break up and go our separate ways. I would honestly never date again. I went nearly 10 years without a boyfriend. I'm not interested in trying again anymore. I'd be fine. Still a virgin at 28. Just go on an SSRI and you can find out for yourself. Cries in Lexapro. Continue on with life. I've had this medical issue and mental issue. Husband cheated and left me. Then I got on new medication at the hospital I was at because of the breakdown I suffered about the relationship. My sex drive came back full force, I guess making up for lost time. I am now single and horny. He is now single and lonely. Life is funny like that. Get used to it, you can live without it. Find a goal to pursue worthy of my time. This is already my life. LMAO struggled with dysmenorrhea, endometriosis symptoms, vulvar pain, etc. since I was 13. I'm 18 now and happily abstinent. My health and self-care comes first, sex doesn't even cross my mind half of the time. Probably scroll Reddit. Oh wait. I guess it depends what age you are and how much you prioritize sex. I went on some medication that kinda killed my sex drive for a bit there, and what I noticed with my partner, and this is my personal experience, that sex and physical love was a bonding experience. So, while I did not necessarily feel the need to have sex, emotionally there was a need for us to be naked in a sense, and together. After we figured that out things were right again, but for a little while there it felt like this banner of no sex was above our heads. You watch TV and movies and they make you feel as if you're fucking damaged goods even if you go through a dry spell. You haven't had sex in 2 months. Oh my god. I believe it is that way for some people, but I also think they're getting something different out of sex than I am, that it fulfills a need perhaps I don't have, or perhaps mine is met in a different way. I have issues keeping a relationship for longer than 6 months. Always get told the same thing, you're a great guy but I have sexual needs, blah blah blah. Was depressed for a bit but came to terms with it and now spend most my time building cars or playing games if the woman don't wanna stick around her lose you know. Moral is if you can't have sex pick a hobby and try not to get depressed about the lack of relationships. Currently in a similar situation due to chronic hip pain. It's very hard to not have the chance to be sexually intimate with my partner. She has a very high sex drive and is ready to roll with just a butt grab. Before my condition we were having sex almost every day and she knows that if I don't want to have sex is because I genuinely can't. I please her in other ways though, such as oral sex, hand work, and, as I have no issues with tumescence, sometimes I let her ride me even if I cannot finish since hip thrusting is painful. It's a bit depressing and I do miss having that physical connection, but there are many other ways to be intimate, like cuddling, kissing, showering together and rubbing each other's back. I have become the small spoon at night and she absolutely loves it, too. Genuine answer? I'm disabled and there's so much worse you could lose. It sucks but count your blessings. I'd have a legit excuse as to why I wasn't doing it.